It's Justin here, and this video is about how to plan your trip and start traveling abroad. So this video is about making your travel dreams a reality. I assume you already have your place in mind, so I just want to go through the entire process of planning your trip and where to begin. I'm making this video because over a year ago I went to visit South Korea to visit some friends and also just see the country because I want to work there as an English teacher in the future. But with the help of my coworker and a lot of research, I managed to plan out my trip, and I went in March of this year for spring break. The first thing you need to research is the entry requirements for a country. Each country's different, and some of them are more strict than others. Like China, you have to get a visa. You have to apply for a full-on visa, and we'll have a lot of background checks and such. And then Australia will background check you as well, and there's people who had something on the record from 10 years ago who are like denied entry to the country because of that. So before planning your trip, you need to make sure there won't be any complications. Like if you have a certain disease, you wouldn't be allowed in there. And also in general, you're going to need a passport. Now passports, they cost about $135 for regular processing time, and $195 if you need to get it expedited, but you wouldn't need to get it expedited unless your trip was less than 2 months away. But really, when you're planning a trip, you should do it 5-6 months ahead of time so you can really plan and make sure you have enough money for anything you want to do and such. And a passport is good for 10 years, so if you have one, then you probably don't need to worry about that right now, but if you get one, you don't have to worry about constantly renewing it. This should be good for your next 5, 6, 7, 10 trips, depending how many you take a year. Alright, the second step is to figure out when you can go. This is the factor that will most greatly affect your trip, especially the cost. Like, plane tickets and room costs will likely be higher around Christmas time and early to mid-summer as compared to, say, March. Additionally, the closer the flight is, the higher the price. Yeah, as you can see with this photo, it's literally twice as expensive to go, say, around Christmas time compared to March, which might be your school's spring break, depending on if it's a March or April spring break, or if it follows Easter. Another thing to think about is the weather. My upcoming trip is to Singapore, and it's always raining there. It rains somewhere on the island every day. So you might want to bring like a raincoat, and also if you bring cameras, you want to bring something that's weatherproof or waterproof, so that way your camera doesn't get damaged or you can actually use it most of the time. And say if you go to like Europe, you probably need winter attire. I don't have any winter attire because where I live here in Bakersfield, California, it hasn't snowed here in almost 18 years, so of course I'm not going to have a snow coat. Another thing is, events and certain things you might want to see are only available in certain seasons. Like when I went to South Korea, I barely missed the sakura blossom season, which is kind of sad. I would have loved to have some pictures of those and to see them in person, but sometimes it just can't be helped. Alright, for number 3, next is to figure out your budget. Typically, the two main expenses are going to be your plane ticket and room. For plane tickets, I typically check the prices for certain areas. Like I use Google Flights to scout out which time windows are cheaper, like in say March. Like it seems to me like for Asia, like the cheapest tickets are in March and the more expensive tickets are in December. And then after I scout which windows are the best, I use this site called Momondo, which I'll link. I use that because the prices there are typically a bit better than what's shown on Google Flights. And then for rooms, I use Airbnb. It's the hosts sign up for the site, and then people who rent the rooms from them can leave reviews and such. So it's good to go and rent from places that have a lot of reviews. If it has no reviews, it can be a bit, you don't know if it'll be good or bad, so there's that drawback. But it's much cheaper than a hotel. I was able to find great deals, say $20 a night, for places even like in Seoul. But if you're not sure, sometimes it's just safer to just use a hotel, especially in areas that, like if you're in the Philippines or something, it can be bit more dangerous to just rent from random strangers as compared to, say, South Korea. Yeah, and another thing is the hosts might be able to help you at a hotel. They might give you a brochure and such, but like my host when I went to South Korea, Wanjin, he showed me like which buses to take and such. Although he was busy, he wasn't able to go around with me. He helped me a lot. Now the secondary expenses are going to be your food, transportation, shopping money, and any attractions or events or activities you plan to do. Now, for calculating these are all always relative to you. Are you going to be fine dining or eating street foods, and do you eat a lot? Are you going on a nature or urban trip? And nature trips, you're mostly going to just be looking at nature and such, but on an urban trip, you're probably going to be shopping, buying street food and clothes, just going around, and then you'll need transportation. So those costs can be higher. Like when I went to South Korea, I probably spent for a KTX ticket. The KTX is the high-speed rail. I spent $150 for a 7-day pass because I went to multiple cities over the stretch of my vacation. And then also on just the regular bus, I probably spent $40 or $50 going around because I traveled a lot. And when I say, like, are you a shopaholic? Because you might spend a lot. And I'm not a shopaholic, but when I was in South Korea, I spent so much on souvenirs I never thought I'd get. Like, this is a tanso, which I kind of suck at and haven't really learned much yet, which I was hoping to, but... And then also, yeah, Korean flag. 'Cause I'm a wannabe Korean. So what I'd say is just do some reflection on that when you're planning for that, because those secondary expenses might end up being more overall depending on the kind of person you are. So that's up to you to reflect and decide. And then after all your budgeting, I would say add a couple $100 more just to be safe, because you just never know. Something might happen or whatnot, or you just end up spending even more than what you planned. So it's just good to have that extra money so you don't feel bummed out that you can't get something. Now that you have a good idea on the cost, you need to figure out how you'll finance your trip. Now, you don't need to worry about this if you have the money already, but if the trip seems too expensive for you, there are so many easy ways you can make up that money that you don't have. One thing which I know can be a bit controversial is spreading out the cost further with credit card. Say if you don't have all that money, so you pay it off over time, but the main thing is you should have a travel credit card anyway, which travel credit cards have no foreign transaction fee. So that means you can use it overseas and not have to worry about getting dinged up for 3% and whatnot. And also, it's not safe to carry lots of cash, especially in places where they might try to rob you for your money. So if you have a credit card, they can steal it, but then you can just deactivate it and then they can't do anything and steal all your money. And another cool thing is oftentimes these travel credit cards have a sign-up bonus. Like I, for example, have a Bank of America Travel Rewards card, which the benefits are there's no foreign transaction fee, no annual fee. You get 1.5 points per dollar spent, and then an extra 10% if you're a Bank of America customer, which I already had Bank of America, so that worked out pretty well for me. And additionally, the sign-up bonus is a $200 travel credit if you run $1,000 through the card within the first 90 days. And that's actually really easy, especially because you need to purchase your plane ticket through it to use the points on it. So that's already going to reach up that cost. And pretty much what I do is I just pay my bills through the card, and then use those, using my card for those, I'm earning points on those bills that I'm going to pay off anyway that I used to pay off with my debit card. So it's essentially just like saving 1.65% for me since I'm a Bank of America customer as well. So there isn't really a drawback so long as you pay it off every month, or you only finance things through it during the no interest period time and then pay it off as you go every month after that intro period's over. And I mean those points stack up over a year too, especially because if you run, say, $500 worth of bills through your card every month that you're going to pay off, in a year you get about $90 of rewards from just using it, and $99 if you're a Bank of America customer. So it's something to consider, and it can also just help you get started on your first trip anyway. That $200 credit can be like near the price of your plane ticket to like a fifth of it, so it really does help a lot. Additionally, mild cuts to your daily spending can stack up. Like say if you spend $8 on lunch 5 days a week for work, if you drop it down to 5, that's about $15 a week. So that would save you about $60 a month. So, and then in 6 months that comes up to $360. So just small tweaks to your daily routines can really save you money. And then if you pack lunch, you save more. And then if you drink Starbucks a lot, like I used to, then if you went from like a grande frap, which is like 4 something, and then went down to iced coffees, you're only spending 3 something, then and you do that like 3-4 times a week, then you're saving like $4 or $5 a week. And really, it's just these nickel and dime things that if you just slowly lower your spending on your most regular things, you'll save a ton of money. And this is just useful in saving in general. So it's something to think about. Now, I hope this video was of help to you. If it was, drop a like, and if you want some personal help, drop a comment and I might be able to help you. I just want everyone to travel, because I feel a lot of people, especially in my town, they haven't seen much else of the world, and they like live and die in this town. So I really want to see everyone just travel the world and see other things, so that way they can be exposed to different ways of life and such. And if you want to see my upcoming travel video to Singapore, subscribe. Have a great day, or night, or whatever time of day it is for you.